Hey everybody, welcome back. We're on the Rapid Onboarding Experience. My name is Ash, and you've already done the strategy tree, you've done your OKRs. We're just going to recap on those things and what's in the app, and then we're going to talk about how you connect the work to those things. So inside the app, you've already seen, we've got mission, vision, values, of course, everyone has that, and then Simon Sinek's why construct, so you can build out your why. You can turn these pages on and off in stratapp, you don't have to use them. And then we also have the direction construct by Professor Roger Martin, who's done a lot of work with HBR.org and also Deloitte, I think is the other one. So this lays out that sort of high level context, particularly the 10-year picture. And then we talked about how do you make the strategy real, meaningful, no longer waffle, and we do that as a tree. And the tree had 4 levels, so goals, sub-goals, actions, and sub-actions. And inside stratapp, you can collaborate at each point in the tree, and you can hang the work below those items on the tree. And this is the 1 to 3 year perspective, and then you want to make sure the rubber hits the road this month or quarter by setting out your OKRs, and we did that on the previous video. So monthly if you're a startup or an early stage company, and then more likely quarterly for most companies, so mid-market, divisions of corporates, and so forth. Now, when you go onto the thinkers page on our website, you'll see I think there's 7 thinkers there. So we've got Elon Musk, Roger Martin, Ray Dalio, Simon Sinek, a bunch of others, Richard Rummelt, who I mentioned before. And all of them have one thing in common. When you dive deep into their thinking and read their materials and watch their interviews, they're all talking about transparency. The more you have transparency in the company, the faster everyone moves, the more clarity you have, quicker decision making, and the performance just elevates. And that transparency is both up and down. So next gen leadership is getting comfortable being open and human as a leader, right? A lot of material on that on LinkedIn coming through every week. How do you be human and open and have a lot of empathy as a leader? It's just to show that you don't know all the answers. You're learning as you go, as you should be. And the more comfortable you are sharing and evolving the tree together with your people, the more buy-in you'll have, the better the culture will be, the more resilient the company will be, and the faster you'll execute. And I think the major proponent also on our website for this thinking would be Ray Dalio, his book Principles, talking about radical transparency. There's nothing that shouldn't be transparent, and you should encourage debate and conversations and ideas, and it should be an idea meritocracy he talks about through the whole company, so that it doesn't matter where the idea comes from, it's all about moving us forward together the best possible way. So all of those thought leaders have this one theme in common. How do you make strategy, execution, progress transparent inside the company so that everyone can be involved? Even if they're just reading it and commenting it or liking it, they're involved and feel connected to it, and therefore more motivated in their own work and can see where their own work fits into the company. So stratapp just powers that naturally. It's been designed around this. It's not a top-down framework that says, here, log in and check out the strategy. It's live and interactive, and all the work's taking place, and people are planning their own days and their own time inside the app. So whilst they're doing their own things, they have the context of what's happening with the company. It's the first tech in the world to do it, bring it all together into one experience. And in this video, I just wanted to highlight the power of that and how it's aligned with the latest thought leadership, particularly coming out of the United States. So strategy, execution. Now let's talk about collaboration. So at the moment in most companies, we have 15, 20, 30, 50 apps running inside the company. And if you think of your employees, I hear stories every week of folks just sitting there. They've got all these tabs open as they move across these different apps to get their job done. Now, stratapp doesn't take them all out of the picture, but it does make life a lot easier by removing a lot of the unnecessary apps and app switch, context switching, integrations, moving around, jumping across different apps. And it's only going to get better. So we're 15 apps in one now. It'll go to 25 apps in one sooner than you think. And we have a deep R&D pipeline, research, and it's been well informed by not just market leaders, but also clients, customers, and users. We take the inspiration from wherever it comes, and some of them are 23, 24-year-old young people in companies that can just see the power of stratapp, and then they're suggesting things and we take it all on board. And inside the app, we're actually connected directly to the end users, to the product team. So there is no sort of, it's total transparency. There's no barriers, like everyone's connected to the end user base inside the product team, and they can actually see the thinking that's happening at the front, which is fantastic. So let's talk about collaboration. So assuming all this is good, when you go back to the office, well, who goes back to the office? When you go back to work, which could be from home or remote or in the office, you've got social collaboration, you've got projects, tasks, risks, ideas, and challenges, and meetings, of course. It's funny, I forget meetings. Everyone knows I don't like them. But it's a key part of running any company, even if it's Zoom and remote or conference calls. So, and I love this concept in the US right now about asynchronous meetings, right? So the meeting card is running, but it's not a real-time meeting. Just get to it when you can. It's going to close off in the next 24 hours. Asynchronous meetings. I think it's fantastic. It's built into stratapp, easy to run inside stratapp. So each of these things are inside stratapp. So what happens in most companies now? Well, I'd almost say all companies. So, and we've spoken, I think, to part of the R&D, we must have talked to 500 at least in the US, and I can't tell you how many in the UK, France, Germany, Brazil, Singapore, South Africa, and Canada, right? So and Switzerland, quite a selection of companies. And the one theme, right? We try and lay this out a bit in PowerPoint, and then we set all these targets in Excel, and we just keep the Excel or the Google Sheet up to date every quarter so we know where we're tracking. Funny thing is, right, when you take those PowerPoint decks and you're onboarding those clients into stratapp, and you're doing this, hey, let's make this really clear, the strategy, and lay it out in a way that people can understand and we're going to rally behind it. I think nearly every time people look at the PowerPoint deck and go, oh, it's not really a strategy, it's waffle. And we've got them on file, right? 25, 50 slides of waffle, feel-good waffle. And the bigger the company, the bigger the deck, right? So, and I've seen it, Accenture. This is your opportunity to change the history of how companies run. Build your tree inside stratapp, make it tangible and simple, apply that yacht analogy, and then watch the work taking place. So the social conversations here, the projects that belong here, the tasks you've got to do in relation to that, ideas and challenges, all the meetings, all of your day-to-day collaboration is hanging off, it has the context of strategy or OKRs, right? The 1 to 3 year picture being your strategy tree, and then your monthly, quarterly picture being your OKRs. What are we going to get done now? And then all the daily work. So each and every person in your company has a private workspace because they've all got that sort of day job. They have to get things done and they've got to balance it out. So all of this activity is in their private workspace as well, and they can interact with everyone else in the company. So instead of having 8 tabs open, all different apps, and you can't look down or look up to see what's going on, it's all in one experience, one connected workspace, everyone pulling together in the same direction. And you can just see, right, hey, we're working on this goal, this is what we're going to get done this quarter, we've had a few meetings, I can see the tasks that are open, I can dive into the projects. So as a leader, it changes how you interact with your people because you can immediately help where it's relevant, right? Add value where it's relevant. And of course, I'll admit, when we're first onboarding stratapp, a lot of leaders see this picture inside the app and they go, man, I'm going to be able to see everything and control everything. And after a few weeks, they realize that's not the game here. Everyone, assume positive intent. Matt Mullenweg, founder of WordPress, great expression, right? Assume positive intent. Everyone's pulling in the right direction means, well, all folks need is guidance, encouragement, support, and context. People will get this stuff done really well if they can see what it's pointing at. And then you can start to balance, hey, why do we actually do these things? It's not pointing at the strategy. Why are we working on this stuff at all? That's the next phase. But as a leader, you get to add value where it counts and see what's going on and contribute. And likewise, as Ray Dalio talks, transparency is not just looking down. It's a two-way street. And when you think of the millennials, and I love working with the millennials, and actually most of our company is millennials, and I love the way they think and how open they are. Right, I'm doing my job, but you know what? My last company, I worked on one of these, and I'd love to get involved here. And they dive into it through stratapp. And it motivates everyone, and it adds value to the company. But when you think about millennials, they have a different mindset to folks my age, right? So, you know, the millennial mindset is, I'll give you my heart and soul and commitment if I can see that you're committed, right? If I can see what the leaders are doing. And I don't expect it to be perfect. I don't expect this not to change. This is the beauty of doing it in stratapp, right? No PowerPoint deck, no updates, no big announcements. You're just constantly evolving the strategy as you should be, per the thinking of Richard Rummelt and the thought leaders. They all have the same perspective, right? Take them all. Roger Martin, Elon Musk, Ricardo Semler, founder of Semco in Brazil. It's all the same thought process. Rapidly evolve your strategy, involve your people, be transparent unless it's something highly sensitive. Be transparent. Make yourself accountable as a leader. And with the next generation particularly, the more open you are to being accountable and involving them, they'll give you their heart and soul to the company. And that's where stratapp really kicks in, because having everyone in one connected workspace and context to the daily work and access up and down, there's nothing like it on the planet. And it's hard to explain, right? Except to just hear the reaction of customers. And it takes different customers, different journeys to get there, right? Some are there in about 1 or 2 weeks, really quickly, because they just go from this onboarding experience to work in the app the next day, bang, and roll it out really quickly, like everyone's on it in 2 weeks. And others might take a whole quarter or a 2-quarter cycle. But certainly within 4 months, latest 6 months, you have a whole new company, new culture, new way of thinking, new way of working. And it's really exciting. And then you'll be telling us what to build next. And that's what's happening every day to us now, which is also exciting. And it's motivating for us. Our roadmap has been laid out by the customers. And some of it we thought of when we started our journey on this, but often a lot of it is new thinking, and it's come from the customers who are deep into the product, and we'll just follow the thinking and innovate to keep up with their ideas. Okay, so now we're going to dive, so that's the context. So now we'll switch into the app, and we'll have a good look at how you connect the work to here, and we're going to drill down on social. And actually, I'll pause, I'll grab a glass of water, and I'll come back and I'll explain a little bit more about social before we do that. Okay, I've had my drink of water, and the studio audience here think I should talk to each of these, so I'll do that first, and then I'll dive into social a little bit. So, what I didn't say before, each of these are cards inside stratapp. So you can have live meeting notes, add them to anything inside the app. Live meeting note could sit below a project, below a task, below an idea, whatever it is, okay? Ideas and challenges, I have no idea. Since I think around 2000, there's this whole movement for ideation apps, crowdsourcing ideas from your employees, customers, and other parties, and even running challenges. So, hey, we're trying to solve this problem. Can you please submit your ideas, and we're going to offer a prize or some incentive or just a pat on the back. And that's built into stratapp. So you're driving ideation through day-to-day inside the app, and it's even built into social, right? So if you capture an idea in a social conversation, it comes up onto the ideation, and you can manage through the idea funnel. Project workboards are built into stratapp, so you can create projects below any of these things, and then run all of this social collaboration on inside or below the project. And then risk management. So when you do your director's course or your MBA and doing, risk management, right? Strategy, finance, governance, the three under governance, risk management. Every board of directors should be reviewing the risk log. I don't know how many board meetings I've been to in the last 10 years. there's no risk log. And if there is one, we defer it over to the next meeting. It's not up to date. Live and interactive inside stratapp. You can create a risk under anything and track it and then roll it up onto the risk management page. Assign different owners, add members to collaborate on the risk. You can put the probability and impact tracking of the risk, all your mitigations, add people to collaborate. And CFOs get lumped with risk management, right? They just, you got to have this, particularly in public companies, you got to have this risk log and assign owners to the risk. It's all easy inside stratapp. And not only that, all of the work taking place to improve the risk is on the risk card. So I think all of us would embrace risk management if it was easy, live and interactive, and was part of the other work we're doing, either strategic or day-to-day inside the company. So that's why we've put it inside stratapp. It's a huge edge, and probably, I think, one of the most underestimated features inside the app. Meetings is the most used feature inside the app. Does my head in, right? So we all love meetings, and with COVID-19 and remote, seems to be more meetings rather than less. Finally, let's talk about social. So this is really, this is such a powerful thing inside stratapp. So if you go back to, there we go. So there's two things that make social inside stratapp really unique. The first thing is tagging. And the second thing is context. So it's social around work. So I'll call it context. We weren't the first to think of this. It was actually Atlassian created Stride, which was bought by Slack just before their IPO and buried, right? So they had, I think they had decision, question, and comment were the three they had in Stride. We workshopped that with a bunch of CEOs and leaders at all different levels in companies of different sizes. And we've expanded that out to 11 tagging points for social. So you can identify a risk, an idea, request an approval, request a decision, request a response. That's the one I'm receiving all the time. Please respond. There's 11 of them. Even I think the number 11 was note that came out of that was the last one out of a workshop. So hey, just be aware this is happening. So that tagging is super powerful. Saves you a lot of time, right? Dive into a project. Has anyone asked a question or made a decision in the last 72 hours? Think about that. Or company-wide, you can do it. Right? You've been away for a few days, you want to catch up. Start with questions, decisions, dissent, disagree is one of them. Really powerful, saves you a lot of time. And then the other thing we have is context. So the social is around the work, right? So it could be strategy, could be OKRs, could be a project, could be a task, could be a risk, whatever it is. Idea, a challenge, from a meeting. The social has context. So you think how it's been for us over the last, social collaboration's been around since 2007, 2008. And, Yammer, I think, was first, then Slack, and then we have Chatter, and then Zoho Click, right? All great apps. But it's just chat channel. And here in stratapp, the conversations are organized around the work and then presented back to you around the work. So it saves most people about half a day a week in productivity. But I think that's huge, right? But for me, that's not the real value. The real value is you're not context switching as you're going through. So imagine, when you go through email, dong, 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 dong. So it's just switch. Same with chat channels, right? Just noise. And you're trying to search out what's important. And it's difficult to go back to information. So it's not just saving you half a day a week in time and headspace. It's when you want to go back over decisions related to things. The conversations are in the right place. Really powerful. And it'll just change your company. Literally within a week, you'll have a whole different way of communicating and interacting. It takes a little bit of discipline to switch over. And we'll talk about that later in this rapid onboarding program. The other thing I don't like about those other apps, which I've used and admired for all this time, but their whole construct is still at name. Drives me crazy. I'm flat out remembering my kids' names. They're out of the room now. But how can I remember everyone's name inside the company? So in stratapp, we have org design built into the app. So when you think about life as a company, right, you've got your functions, you've got, which are like departments, marketing, sales, service, support. You've got bigger companies will have market verticals so that, you're organized around the markets you serve, who you're selling to. Everyone has geography, whether at one office, two offices, one country, multiple sites, you have a hierarchy of geography. And then some companies, particularly once you get over 3,000 employees, will have horizontal teams. So it could be shared services. In the case of Accenture, it was outsourcing, and then the 4 divisions of consulting. So you might be in the marketing team at Accenture, focused on the consumer products vertical, based in London, but you were also in the change management consulting team. So you had 4 hats, right? That's how companies are organized. And the other attribute we have in stratapp is levels, which also works. So when you go to collaborate, and by collaborate I mean actually work, not just chat. So I want to pull together a meeting with everyone based in Colorado who's in our R&D team and focused on the aviation vertical at the moment. In stratapp, that's literally 3 seconds. Chung, 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 bang, you've pulled that meeting together, and they're live and interactive. And it works across the whole app. So you can engage strategically, objectives for the quarter, projects, tasks, risks, ideas, and challenges, all by org design. So you don't need to remember people's names. Saves so much time, and also you don't forget anybody who needs to be involved in what it is you're working on. Okay, so I know I talked a lot about social, but collaboration and how we interact is like fundamental to getting the work done. And in stratapp we have structure, so tagging to the social. We have context, so the social is organized around the work instead of chat channels that you're managing and switching across and trying to find out what's important, what's not. And it's all powered by these 4 attributes of org design, saving you time and making sure you don't forget anybody that needs to be involved in whatever it is you're working on. Okay, so we'll switch from the flip chart session, I keep saying whiteboard, flip chart session, into having a look at the app. We'll build out a example tree, we'll create some OKRs, and then we'll connect some work. And then you're going to discover another piece of magic inside stratapp. Shall I keep talking? Yes, why not? Let me keep going. So this is another world first inside the app, which you've probably already worked out exists. You'll notice each time we link something, there's a hierarchy of content inside the app. So it's not fixed as I've drawn it here. So you might have a goal that you've added an objective to, and then below the objective, you've added a project workboard. If you open a task, so let's just draw a project workboard, and I know you love my artwork, right? So future career as a designer painter here. And we've got tasks on this, here are the lists, here are the tasks. And I might take one task here, which is a huge task, and you've decided you're going to build a whole workboard below that task. Content hierarchy. The applications for this are huge. We've got small clients who are using this to collaborate with their clients and consulting partners. So they want them here, but not seeing what's happening here. So they create a hierarchy and then manage that content here. We've got larger clients, particularly around that sort of 15,000 employees and up, who might have head office project running like that, and then they delegate out to business units around the world where they want the projects, what they want done below each of the tasks on the head office project. The combinations are endless, and it keeps going, and there's no rules, right? There's a basic structure in stratapp, but how you apply it is just to suit you. So if you want to add a task here and then a risk below the task and then an idea to go and help mitigate that risk, and then someone says, hey, let's work on that idea, so let's put a workboard project below that idea, it just keeps going. And it's all automatically organized, and you don't go clicking through the app to get to the content. We present it back to you, to your workspace. So the conversations are organized around the work, as I mentioned before, and any task you pick up from anywhere inside the app are automatically coming to your workspace, which we'll show you now in the video of going inside the app. Thank you very much.